Last class we started that multi-threading concept and we completed exception handling mechanism. Do you have any doubts on exception handling mechanism? Anybody? I hope I told you to refer the textbook for programs as well as some other concept. So while doing so, do you get any doubt? Do you want any clarification? Anybody? 505, Divanya, any doubts? Is there, Divanya is there or no? Okay, Sunil or Lakshmi Prasanna, Kausalya, any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay, let me ask one question. In exception handling, actually, we know that there will be built-in exceptions and user-defined exceptions. We can create our own subclasses also. We can create our own subclasses for the to create one new to handle a new exceptions, situation-specific exceptions. So that is the last topic what I explained. There, I'd like to ask one question. By using while creating those subclasses, is it possible to create a new method or not? New method or not? Actually, we can create a new subclass. How could we create is by extending from exception superclass. That's the basic thing. So while doing that one, I told that we're supposed to use built-in methods of throwable class one. We're supposed to use those by overloading or overriding them. We can use. I told that concept. Now my question is there any chance? Is there any possibility to create new methods apart from overriding those built-in methods? Kotta methods man create checha cheyalem. Have you got this doubt or not? The same question B section student they asked. That's why I'm asking. They got this doubt. So you tell me from your knowledge, is it possible to create new methods or not? Yeah, tell me whether correct or wrong. That's will be different. First, try to open your mouth. Divanya, tell me. Is it possible to create new methods in that new subclass? Yes or no? Okay. So I'll explain. Try to listen. Try to understand. So is it possible to? It is possible to create new methods also, not only overriding those already built in. So, but there, while creating new method, we have to use the throws concept, throws mechanism. So that method method's exception type must be before creating that method itself. We have to declare that exception type. Okay, so that's why I try to understand, and you're supposed to ask all these things. So when would you get all these things? Means I told you to just to refer. I mean, you have to Google or you have to study textbook all this. Then only you get more knowledge. If you are attending for attendance purpose, then that's not at all useful for you. So try to learn more. Try to ask more doubts. Again, our next concept is exception handling. Let me share my screen. So our new concept is multi-threading. What is meant by multi-threading? Anybody? What is meant by multi-threading? Last class I gave some introduction.
Many actions at the same time.
Many actions to perform the same program.
Yeah, in same program, if you want to perform multiple tasks at the same point of time in parallel. So we can done that one by using the multi-threading concept. The multi-threading concept is similar to multitasking. Actually, in fact, in computer inside the system, if you want to perform multitasking concept, we can perform that one by using two ways. Those two ways are, one is process-based multitasking, another one is thread-based. Process-based multitasking is the big one. I mean, it will tell us about how we can perform more number of process at the same time. For example, now we are watching in my laptop. I am using PPT, Microsoft PowerPoint, as well as Zoom. All these things and microphones. All this. So many applications are being run now. So that now how that now that is how that was being performed is so because of this multitasking. I mean process based multitasking, and this could be handled by the OS. So no need to worry about it. You'll see all these things in the next semester. OS subject. That scheduler will take care of all these things. It will schedule and it will take care which process first, which next, like that. It will. Now our Java supports multi-threading. Java won't take care of multitasking concept. Java handles the only multi-threading concept, because multi-threading is for inside the program if you want to perform more number of tasks at the same time. So more number of tasks so you can do by using multi-threading. So example is that, for example, our PowerPoint. In PowerPoint, what I can do is I can update I can write the things. At the same time, I can save this one. I can perform some other action. So multiple actions can be done. So each action will be allocated to one thread, so that if at all those threads are independent, and obviously the multi-threading concept will be done without any problem. And another important thing is the multi-threading concept provides which way of execution, synchronous way or asynchronous way in that program. Yesterday I explained it. So
Asynchronous.
What?
Multi-threading asynchronous.
So multi-threading concept provides the
multi-threading asynchronous.
Yeah. It provides the asynchronous way of execution. That means there won't be any one particular manner. So any thread can start any time, and any thread can be ended. There won't be any particular order for all these things. So that is about asynchronous. So multi-threading concept provides that environment, so that it is easy to handle. It is easy to execute more number of threads at same point. But while for some applications or to solve some problems, this asynchronous manner is not suitable. At the time, if you want to perform synchronous, we supposed to perform synchronous way of execution. So then, how could we convert that asynchronous environment into synchronous way? Anybody? For that thing, we have to use one concept. What is that concept?
Monitor system.
Yeah, we have to use monitoring system. So this is also an important concept for process synchronization. You will study about these things in OS subject. Okay, here also in my Java programming also, we will use monitors to make that asynchronous environment into synchronous, so that everything will be done perfectly after one thread after another thread. Why we have to make synchronous means, in some applications or in some programs, while solving some problem, the situation may comes like that. The output of one thread will be useful for some other thread. I mean, the one thread is has been. Then that one thread is being has been waiting for some other thread out. So at that time, so this thread B must be executed after the completion of thread A only. So that how that would be controlled is by using the monitor concept. Okay. And last class I explained about thread life cycle. So what are the states in the thread life cycle? I told you to write note those states. Okay, let's say once let me know all those states. What are these states? Anybody? Yeah, tell me.
You ready?
Yeah, you ready?
New running. Suspended.
Yeah. So first
Running, waiting, suspended.
try to note down those first new, and from that new state to ready state, from ready state to running state, from running state to it may complete and it may end state, or it may go to waiting state also, based on the that context switching concept. What is meant by context switching? Anybody?
To
Context.
decide when a switch is one running
One
thread with
running
another.
thread to the another.
So switching from one thread to another thread, one task to another task, when that would be done is based on the priorities. If at all high priority thread would come, then low priority thread has to be uh, that, that that execution of that control of that execution control must be shifted to high priority thread. So at that time that low priority thread would go to waiting, must go to waiting state. So that is the context switching. So switching from one state to another state. So because of context switching, we may get one problem. What is that problem? So last class I told. So because of context switching concept, there is a problem. What is that problem name?
Portable phone.
Yeah, exactly. That is a portability problem. That's why you have to note all the important points. So portability problem. So portability problem, and that could be solved by the OS. Okay, you need to worry about that problem. The OS will take care of that. So portability means actually if at all the execution control is being changed from one task to another task or one thread to another thread, at that time, if at all previous thread, if at all it is having any important resources, it is holding any important resources, or it is having important data, then everything that goes, if at all that thread is being stopped, then that data, that resources would be blocked. I mean, those would not be utilized properly. So that is one important issue. So to address, so to handle that, so OS would have its own way of solving that. So this concept would be looks like similar to the garbage collection in Java. What is meant by garbage collection in Java? So in unit one, this concept we studied actually. So what is meant by garbage collection?
Java automatically identifies the unwanted data, sir.
No, not unwanted data.
And it removes the unwanted data from the memory.
No. Not exactly that. It won't remove unwanted data. It removes the unutilized objects. So collecting all the unutilized objects and removing those objects from the memory. So that concept is known as garbage collection, not data, only objects which are present in the memory. So while removing those objects, some objects may hold some important information. At that time, how that can be handled? How that important information can be handled, if at all that particular object?
By using finalize methods, sir.
Exactly, sir. That's what. So very good. So that by using finalizing method. So same concept here also in threads also. So that portability problem may come because whenever the thread is going to stop in the is going to abrupt stop in the middle of execution, then this problem may come. Okay, that can be handled by the OS actually. Okay, these are about context switching, changing from one context to another context. Actually, so to perform context switching, two scenarios we may face. First one is whenever the high priority thread would come for execution, the low priority thread must voluntarily relinquish the control. Means relinquishing is nothing but give up. Those has to stop and those has to give that control to higher priority. This could be done voluntarily. So this is the first case. In second case, if at all those threads are not voluntarily stops that one, then this high priority thread, what it does is it's forcibly takes the control from that low priority thread. This concept is known as the preemption. Preemption is forcibly taking the control. from low priority to high priority. So like this, in this by using these two way, the context switching may occur. So depends on the depends on that low priority thread importance. Okay. So the context switching. So because of this context switching, we may get portability problem. So this is the last point you can observe. And one more thing is there. So one more thing is there. If at all, what happens if same priority thread will come? So same priority thread can be handled by using the can be handled. OS only will be performed by using some algorithms. Or those threads has to voluntarily change their control of execution, or they can share the execution control one by one like that. So this is about whenever the same priority thread. So for all the equal priority threads come, then there is a scope of there is a chance to get this portability problem. Means which thread must be executed first, or which thread must be executed next, like that, to decide that one, so that the portability problem may arise. So next one is synchronization. So I told that in fact that multi-threading concept itself would give that asynchronous way of execution. So the entire environment will become asynchronous because of the multi-threading concept. So if we want to make that one as synchronous, we have to use the concept like monitors. So monitors are these are the locking systems. You can remember like that, over room one box type of thing. So there, if at all any thread enters into box, then that box would be closed. No other thread will be executed. So that what happens, there won't be any problem. There won't be any asynchronous way. Threads will be executed one by one, because monitors allows only one thread to execute. So that automatically the entire environment will become synchronous. One by one type of execution, there won't be any problem like that. So the monitor will works as a locking system. Locks for the box. The box like okay, thread that box would be closed, and no other thread would be allowed to to enter into the box system. Yeah, this is about the monitors concept. And here in the advantage of Java is this monitoring system can be done implicitly. You don't need to worry about. That's why Java is very advanced than the C++. It is having many features. Even multi-threading concept is also built-in thing. This concept is having its own classes, built-in classes, so that it is easy to handle multi-threading concept by using Java programming language. All are built-in. Only exception handling is also built-in. Means for every concept, they introduce some concepts. Simply we supposed to use those concepts to enhance our program for multiple purpose, so that our program may get more features to solve that. Okay. So in even the multi-threading also, in Java, it is having Java is having built-in packages for that multi-threading concepts also. So this is also for monitors also. Even monitor mechanism, synchronization mechanism, the built-in mechanism is there. Implicit way of execution is there. We'll see all those things while we'll see the programs. So that is about the synchronization. Any doubts till now, as of now? Any doubts? And doubt on that? 505. Are you there or not? Are you listening? Yeah. Any?
Yes, sir.
No, sir. Can you explain your program for multi-threading, sir?
Yeah, actually till now we didn't go up to the technical. Just I'm explaining theoretical part, but then soon we'll go programmatical.
For creating our own exception, also explain your program, sir.
Yeah, I'll explain. I explained that the program. I think creating one subclass. So we created na. Shall I show
Sir.
once again? మళ్ళీ సార్ చూపించాలి అది.
Yes, sir.
ఓకే. మరి అడగచ్చు కదా స్టార్టింగ్ లోనే క్లాస్ ముందే చూపించాలి. Any more doubts remaining, boys and girls? You have to ask, otherwise your doubts would be nobody. I mean, it is difficult to solve. Difficult to get clarification by your own. That's why try to ask doubts and clarify your doubts. Okay, this is the program. Is it visible?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, see, here what happens is this my exception is one new class, and it is a subclass of exception. So I told that if you want to create a new exception class, that extends from the exception one. This is the super class we know. This is the exception class is the super class, one main class, built-in class of Lang throwable package. Okay, so this is the new class, and that inside this we can give the we can use the constructor. That's okay. That's different concept. So inside that, this toString is one method, built-in method. So this is the built-in method from throwable class. This built-in method is going to be overridden here. So here it is going to override. So this in this class, this built-in method, and it is inside that built-in method we can have one instruction. So here one instruction is there. Next one more class is there. That is the in this one. So here we created one method in another class. This method is going to override. This method is going to throws the exception. Whenever the a value is greater than 10, so throws that exception what we created. We create just a subclass type of exception. It throws just one. So throws keyword what it does is it defines the exception list before itself. So this method, compute method, is going to generate one type of exception. That type is the user defined. Our type, user defined exception type, not built-in type. So here it is going to it generates the exception if at all a equal to a is greater than 10. Otherwise there won't be any exception. Okay. Next, in void main method, we are calling that method. So while calling that method, we may get there is a chance to get exception. That's why we are keeping that method inside the try block. So try block would be used to monitor the exception. Wherever there is a chance to get exception, that entire those statements can be we can keep those statements inside the try block. So we did that thing here. So here first to compute while calling the first method, there won't be an exception because this is one is less than 10. So next time 20 is greater than 10. So exception would be generated. Then exception would be thrown from here to this some other method. So by using throws concept. Okay. So while exception is being executed, at that time this subclass would be executed. This subclass, whatever we generated, that exception subclass would be executed there. That value, that type of that exception would be recognized, and that information would be stored in this a value, and that a value we can print. We are throwing to e so that we can print here. So while printing that A value, we'll get the information about description about that stack trace information about that exception will get in the form of output. Any doubt in this program? Divani, just go through the line by line. Just let me know any line if you want.
Sir, 9th line explain cheyandi sir.
So
అది
ninth line,
built-in method sir.
yeah, built-in method. Yeah, I'll show this. So PPT lo chupistan toString. So string to the table kanpistunda table. Table lo last method chuda. So this is the throwable methods, throwable class built-in methods. So if you want to override these methods, we can override, or we can create our own methods also. That's not a problem. So in this example, we are overriding the built-in method toString. ఇది ఆల్రెడీ ఉన్న మెథడ్ మనం దాన్ని ఓవర్రైడ్ చేస్తున్నాం అంటే లోపల మన ఓన్ ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్స్ ఇచ్చాం, మన ఇష్టం వచ్చిన ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్ రాసుకోవచ్చు, డిపెండ్స్ ఆన్ దట్ టైప్ ఆఫ్ ఎక్సెప్షన్. Okay, any more doubts? ఇంకేమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉన్నాయి? ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉన్నాయి? ఏమైనా డౌట్ లైన్ చెప్తారా?
No sir.
Okay, this program is for what is which purpose?
Creating our own exception.
Own exception subclasses. Creating our own exception subclasses and using those subclasses to handle the exceptions. ఆ subclass మళ్ళీ యూజ్ చేస్తున్నాం అన్నమాట, ఎలా ఒక ఎక్సెప్షన్ హ్యాండిల్ చేయడానికి. Okay, that is about creating own subclass. Now we'll move into multi-threading. Okay. So synchronization are completed. So next one is messaging concept. So messaging means messaging is a mechanism in the multi-threading concept. We know that if the multi-threading would be done in a single program. If at all more number of actions tasks are there in thread in that program, each task can be assigned to one thread, so that multi-thread by using the multi-threading concept it is possible to handle the more number of tasks parallelly. Now here the concept is whatever the threads which are present in that same program are going to solve the same problem, because those all are belongs to same program only, and those all will share the common data only. So hence these threads has to communicate each other. Obviously those supposed to do like that, because those all are belongs to same program and solving same problem. So to communicate each other, if one thread want to communicate with the other, then how that could be done is by using this concept, messaging concept, Java's messaging system. So this Java's messaging system will be used for that concept, especially for synchronization mechanism. In synchronization mechanism, threads must be communicate each other, because one thread's information must be required for some other. One thread's output is required for some other thread. At that time, how that that can be managed or that can be controlled, managed is by using this Java's messaging system. Okay. Now Java's messaging system allows this messages in the form of objects. Okay. So this message system, how it handles that thing is so there would be synchronized methods for those threads. So those methods would be forwarded to the object, so that that thread object will identify that some other method is want to communicate with that thread. So whenever that situation comes, then thread would be able to accept that message, and the communication will be done. Okay. So that messaging communication will be done in the form of objects. Okay. with respect to objects. So just 2 points about that messaging concept. No need to worry. So while while we see the program, there we came to know how that messages are forwarded among those threads. We'll see. So next concept is the thread class and runnable interface. So these are the built-in things about for the multi-threading concept. So Java multi-threading system is built upon one thread class. I already told the multi-threading Java multi-threading is also built-in mechanism. And threading, so it will have a thread class similar to exception class. Exception handle exception built-in class usam. Similarly, here also thread class is there, and it will have its own methods, built-in methods, and there is an interface also. One separate exclusive interface is there for threads, multi-threading concept. That interface name is runnable interface. So that runnable interface is for that threading concept. So if you want to create a new thread, you can create that new thread by using either this class or by using the interface. Interface tane meer create cheyochu, class tane create cheyochu. మనం class తో ఏదైనా create చేయాలంటే what is the keyword we supposed to use? If you want to create a new class from existing class, what is the keyword?
Extends.
Yeah. Now, if you want to create a new class from the interface, then what is the keyword?
Implement.
Implements.
Yeah, implements. Now tell me just what is the difference between class and interface?
Interface contains
methods.
Methods public or private.
Yeah, interface contains only abstract methods. Only abstract. But class may contains anything. It's not mandatory that only abstract, not like that. Class may contains anything. For interface or for only abstract methods, and those must not be implemented inside. So that whatever the classes which implements that interface can implement those methods, and they can have their own way of instructions. So because of this interface concept, it is that one. What is the main feature, main advantage of interfaces?
Java allows multi-threading, multiple inheritance.
Yeah, multiple inheritance is possible because of the interface. Next, another feature. What is another feature with interface? Actual interface, by using interfaces, there are
One interface, multiple methods.
Yeah, one interface and multiple methods. So that can be fully satisfied with interface concept. Okay, so these are some basics about those. So while if you want to create a new thread, you can also create by using that class or interface. Interface create class create. Those both are that class or that interface both belongs to this built-in things for that multi-threading concept in Java. So these are the methods. So these are the built-in methods which we can use to manage the threads. Threads to మనం manage చేయడానికి కొన్ని built-in methods ఉన్నాయి. Many methods are there. Among those, these are the important ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 methods are there. Apart from the 7, some other methods are also there. But these frequently we use these methods to manage the threads. Okay. So this is about thread class and runnable interface. So for multi-threading concept, Java contains a built-in thread class as well as built-in runnable interface. This is the point you should understand. So next we'll move into now technical part, programming part. So try to understand now. Now from here onwards, we'll see all the concepts by using the program, by the help of program. So we know that in Java there would be a main method What is the importance of that method? In any program, any Java program, there must be a main method. Why?
Execution starts from the main
Execution
method.
starts from the main method.
Who starts that? Who activates that main method?
OS.
OS.
OS plus one more important thing is there for Java.
JVM.
Yeah,
JVM.
Yeah.
JVM.
So by JVM, Java virtual machine will start the that main method will identify that, and that too that main method is public static void, so that it is easy to access that method. Okay, even though it is present inside a class, but we can, I mean, that JVM can access the main method without any problem, so that the